another Coffee with Kilroy. Actually, this is my first cup of coffee in maybe 2 weeks. If you checked out one of my earlier videos from a few days ago, you might find out that I had emergency surgery, very unexpected and a very inconvenient time, but I am recovering. In fact, I go for follow-ups this upcoming week. But coffee is back on the table until I go to a follow-up and they say it's not. There we go. So I like to call this segment, as you all know, Beverage in a Book. My beverage, coffee, until told differently. And the book, well, Mike Lambo has done it again. We're looking at Hostage Rescue Squad, a Solitaire Game by Mike Lambo. And if you check out my playlist down below, you'll see under my war game books, there's several Lambo entries. And of course, I do have an entry for Mr. Lambo under my designers. But enough of that. Let's have a sip and get into this book here. Take a look at the back here. The Hostage Rescue Squad, HRS, is a fictional elite tactical unit set up to rescue hostages from critical situations when negotiation had failed or is simply not an option. In the game, you will be controlling 3 HRS operators as they attempt daring missions to rescue hostages in a variety of missions. The hostiles who have taken the hostages are dangerous and desperate, and they will stop at nothing to prevent you succeeding your mission. Stealth will often be the key tactic here, although sudden bursts of action are likely to be required at the right moment. So, right off the start, this is kind of me, kind of a reminiscent of two games I really enjoyed playing, two solitaire games I enjoyed playing. One is Hostage Negotiator. It's not a war game at all, but it's a solo game where you are a hostage negotiator. You're doing the first part of this where they're doing the negotiation. And then the second one is probably DBG's Modern Warfighter or Shadow Warfighter. Shadow Warfighter, I think, is more akin to these HRS forces that Mike has created here. We are going in under stealth missions using suppression type armor or weapons or ammo. And stealth is really the key to your mission. And when you do have combat, you've got to be very careful about that. So, and I've done some videos on Warfighter, Shadow War, so check those out. But that's reminiscent of a big game, not a book game, that you might want to get some of the same feel for this. And as far as the negotiation, I don't know if this goes into the negotiation. This looks like it's really going into the mission side. But check out Hostage Negotiator. I highly recommend that as a solo game. It might be one of my top solo games ever. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into this book. So this is one of his thinner books. I don't know. It just felt a little bit thinner than some of the other ones that he's done. Not sure if that's correct or not. Hostage Rescue Squad, a solitaire game. You've got your introduction, background, how the book works, suggested map annotations. This is very common in his games. Tell you how to use this book. You've got the objective. You've got the rules here. Talking about the operators, the maps, health and lives, action mechanisms, threat level, line of sight, hostages. This one looks like it might be a little bit more RPG-ish, role-playing game-ish is what I call that. Not a true role-playing game, but any game, in my opinion, that kind of puts you in the shoes of an individual or a very small team, and you're trying to make decisions based on that. I kind of put those in kind of an RPG-ish camp. And if they're solo, it's even better because you don't have to have a game master running the show for you. The game itself runs the show. Adjusting difficulty, setup, missions, and it looks like you've got 10 missions here. Looks like you've got the cabin crew, residential raider, villa villains, bad guys on the bridge, office occupiers, rail yard rogues, jungle jeopardy, two sheds, industrial evil, and hotel hostages. And there's a difficulty level here, like from easy up to crazy, or up to difficult, I guess. I don't know which one's better, crazy or difficult. And then you got suggested counters. Again, on if you've seen many of my coverage of Lambo books, these are a little bit different than some of the other game books that are out there in that everything here is self-contained. You can play the book inside the book, usually writing up on the pages. I don't like that, so you can find alternatives, either making copies or making your own counters or making your own markers. And this one looks like it has suggested counters, so you can use those to use in this game if you don't want to mark up the book and preserve it for future plays. So we got the introduction here, how the book works, which means it's going to talk about you need a 7/6 standard die, and you're also going to need pen or pencil, whatever you want to use to mark up, or some other means to keep track of stuff in the book itself. Here's some map annotations. Again, this is very, very tactical, this game. So this is, going into buildings, going into, close locations that you are managing, I guess, a small team of people to go in there, either individuals or just a few of your tactical team to go in there. Objective. Yeah. Classified info is redacted. Okay, that's kind of nice there. So there's your operators. He's talking about some of the game concepts like cover, buildings, health, lives, action mechanisms, threat levels. That threat level is one that kind of brought back the old hostage negotiators aspect of or concept here. But this is the action point of that. This is the mission of going in. Line of sight rules. In any tactical game, you're going to have that. Game concepts, hostages, the game phases. So that activates the 3 operators. So you're going to have 3 operators, it looks like, in most of these missions, if not all of these. Then you've got your the actions that can be taken. Move, shoot, grenades, silent kill, open door, closed door, bullet shield, calm down. Notes on that. This is how it affects the threat level. And you can see the rules are, it's single column and kind of well spaced out. So, and it's not super dense on the rules to figure this out. A lot of this is tactical type stuff that if you're used to playing any kind of small unit tactical game, Squad Leader, Band of Brothers, any of those kind of games, then this is going to, some of these concepts are going to be very familiar to you. Then you got the hostile action phase. So this is the AI. This is how you're going to be handling what the AI does on its turn. This looks a little bit more elaborate than some of his other games on how they did AI, because we're getting to a more granular level with the tactical nature. So a little bit more detail going on here about who's doing what. And that's it. Then you got adjusting difficulty. Then here's your setup, and then you got your missions. And so here's how the missions are going to be portrayed. On this side is your key charts and what the actions for your team, and then the AI's actions or the hostile actions, and then this is the map. This is where everything is going to play out. So either you mark on this, or you use counters or minis or whatever you want to do on this page. But this is basically your map and game board. Here is your key charts, between what actions you can do and then what actions the AI is going to do. And this is the cabin crew, which is easy on this one. and each one of these is going to be set up that way. So each mission is going to have your charts and then your game board. You can see there. And you're looking at a lot of buildings, so you're looking at very close quarters and trying to maneuver around. Here's some chairs here. And the theme of this entire book is, is hostage scenario. So you're trying to go in and rescue the hostages without losing the hostages, or losing, some of the hostages, or any of them probably, and taking out the bad guys along the way. So you got definitely some interesting maps here. I mean, this is, out of all the Lambo games, this is probably the most colorful, the way this is laid out. I mean, we've got, and plus the variety of, like, you have some terrain, like some different vehicles, and inside buildings, and some like computer tables or desks and stuff like that. It's got a lot of stuff going on. Here's a rail yard here. Here's a jungle situation. So this is quite interesting. This is a lot. This isn't historical, as he said on the back. It's fictional and made up, but the tactics are I guess you judge whether you think the tactics are legit or not, or if you feel like if it feels like it simulates one of these hostage rescue type situations. It's kind of up to you if you enjoy playing the game. But on the surface, it looks like it's taking some of the elements of some of his other games, of the actions and the hostiles actions, and placing it in a different type of theme and a different type of situation. So it looks like it should work. Here's an industrial situation. So very interesting how this is laid out. And here's your hotel hostages. You got a full-on building here, and you've got your threat level down here, and that's going to affect things during the game, but how the threat level moves up and down. And here's your suggested counters that you can use. So you could make these counters, use these on the board, or make a copy of the board and make a copy of the counters, or it looks like here you can probably even use minis here if you wanted to. I mean, these looks like these might need to be counters, or markers of some sort. But the rest of these are just individuals, so you might be able to use these as counters, and the rest of these could be like little minis on the board if you wanted to do that. So there you have it. That is Hostage Rescue Squad, a solitaire game by Mike Lambo, his latest and greatest in his ever-growing series of solitaire games. So, love to know what you think about this. I've had this for a while. It's just I've had a series of unfortunate and fortunate events happening, so I haven't been able to even take a look at this. And so this is my first look at this. I kind of saved it for you guys, for me to page through for it for the first time. So, had this for a while, so some of you I know there's been some other videos out there. Some of you might have been playing this. Love to know what your thoughts are on this. Love it, hate it, neutral on it, whatever you think about it, whatever you think about his games in general. Love to see comments on it. Love to see what discussion is, and how this game space is developing, and how some of these titles are coming out on that. So anyway, thank you for spending some time with me. I'm realizing more and more each day how precious time is, and so I want to thank you for spending a little bit of it with me. It is greatly appreciated. So with that, please leave some comments. Love to know what you think about any of this stuff. Love to see a discussion started. So anyway, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.